Every dreamer begins with desire, but desire without direction is like a ship adrift without a compass. To truly achieve your goals, you must not depend upon chance or emotion. You must construct systems that guarantee results. Systems are the invisible architecture of success, the unseen rails upon which destiny runs. A definite purpose must be the cornerstone. When you know what you want, systems give that purpose structure. They transform vague wishes into daily actions, making achievement inevitable. Without order, the mind scatters its energy. With systems, that same energy becomes a laser burning through obstacles. Organized planning is the key to execution. A plan is not just an outline, it is a living map. Break your goal into tasks, and then assign those tasks a time, place, and method. A system eliminates guesswork. It tells you what must be done, when it must be done, and how it must be done. Controlled habits forge destiny. A man does not rise to his goals by chance, he rises by discipline. A system is discipline made automatic. When you wake, when you work, when you rest, all can be governed by structures that make failure nearly impossible. Persistence is built, not born. With systems, persistence does not rely on emotion. Whether you feel strong or weak, inspired or discouraged, the system carries you forward. Like a river that flows regardless of storms, your system ensures progress even in the hardest seasons. No one achieves greatness alone. Mastermind your environment. Build systems that connect you to others who share your purpose. Surround yourself with accountability, resources, and wisdom. In such an environment, your systems become reinforced with the strength of many. And remember, a system is not rigid. It must be measured, adjusted, and improved. Progress demands reflection. Study your results, refine your methods, and the system will evolve into a sharper tool, carrying you closer and closer to the life you envisioned. Great goals are not achieved by chance. They are achieved by design. Systems are that design. Build them with purpose, run them with discipline, and they will deliver you to success. A life without a definite purpose is like a ship adrift at sea, moving with the wind but never arriving at a destination. When you establish a clear and definite purpose, you transform confusion into clarity and chaos into order. Purpose is the compass of achievement. It tells you where you are going, why you are going there, and what you must do to get there. Without it, time is wasted, energy is scattered, and potential is left unrealized. But with it, every thought, every action, and every resource begins to align in the direction of your greatest vision. The first step toward achievement is not talent, wealth, or opportunity. It is knowing what you want. When you define your purpose, you set the law of order in motion. Your mind begins to filter out distractions and fix itself on the objective. What once seemed impossible begins to take shape because clarity produces power. A man or woman with a definite aim possesses more strength than the most gifted individual wandering without direction. The world yields not to chance but to certainty. When purpose is established, order follows naturally. Discipline ceases to feel like a burden because every action has meaning. Sacrifice no longer feels like loss because you know what it serves. The hours you spend, the habits you build, the challenges you endure, all take their rightful place within the design of your vision. Purpose does not eliminate obstacles, but it organizes your mind to overcome them. Instead of scattering your energy across dozens of pursuits, you channel it like a river directed into a single stream, powerful enough to carve valleys and move mountains. Definite purpose also creates inner stability. A person who lacks it is tossed by emotion, happy one day, discouraged the next, motivated in the morning, defeated by nightfall. But when you live with a purpose, you do not depend on temporary feelings. Purpose becomes the standard that steadies your steps when enthusiasm fades. Even in moments of doubt, you know why you began, and that why keeps you pressing forward. True order is not merely about external schedules or routines. It begins within the mind, rooted in a clear understanding of what matters most. Consider the difference between a person who wakes each day without direction and one who wakes with a definite aim. The first reacts to life, pulled by demands, noise, and circumstances. The second acts upon life, moving with intention, guided by a vision larger than the distractions around them. One drifts, the other drives. This is the power of a definite purpose. It creates order not just in your schedule, but in your entire existence. History reveals countless examples of individuals who achieved greatness, not because they had every advantage, but because they possessed a definite aim. Their purpose gave order to their thoughts, shaped their habits, and disciplined their actions. The world may call them geniuses, but the truth is simpler. They knew where they were going, and they refused to be diverted. If you truly desire to achieve your goals, you must first decide what they are, write them down, clarify them, refuse to let them remain vague. The sharper your purpose, the stronger your order. From that clarity will flow the plan, the discipline, and the persistence required for success. Definite purpose creates order because it eliminates the unnecessary and magnifies the essential. It takes the scattered fragments of your potential and unites them into a single force, unstoppable and unshakable. When you live with purpose, you live with power. And when you live with power, order becomes your natural companion, leading you step by step to the destiny you were designed to fulfill. A goal without a plan is nothing more than a wish, and wishes alone have never built empires, changed nations, or fulfilled destinies. Success is not an accident. It is the deliberate outcome of organized planning followed by consistent execution. To hold a dream in your heart is not enough. You must translate that dream into a map, and that map into decisive steps that lead to reality. Every person who has achieved greatness first began with an idea, but the idea only became powerful when it was organized into a plan. A vision floating in the mind is fragile. It disappears under pressure, dissolves under doubt, and dies under delay. But when you take that vision and put it into writing, break it into parts, and arrange it into action, it becomes a structure that can withstand resistance. Organized planning transforms desire into duty and duty into destiny. The human mind is a reservoir of imagination, but imagination without order leads to confusion. Planning is the bridge that connects imagination to creation. To plan is to decide in advance what must be done, when it must be done, and how it must be done. It removes hesitation and reduces uncertainty. While others are paralyzed by indecision, the planner moves with confidence, guided by a roadmap that clarifies the next step. Organized planning also builds efficiency. A scattered effort wastes time and drains energy, but a focused plan conserves both. Instead of wandering aimlessly, you channel your resources with precision. You know which task deserves your attention, which opportunity to pursue, and which distraction to reject. Planning is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most, in the right order with the right method. This is how mountains are moved, not by scattered blows, but by steady strikes in the same direction. Execution without planning is chaos. Many people start strong, full of enthusiasm, only to fall apart because they never built a system to sustain their effort. Passion may ignite the flame, but planning keeps it burning. When you organize your vision into steps, you remove the dependence on fleeting emotion. Whether you feel inspired or tired, your plan directs your action. It is the silent commander that ensures progress even when motivation fades. History shows us that every great undertaking, whether the building of cities, the invention of technologies, or the creation of movements, was accomplished through organized planning. Leaders drew blueprints, strategists mapped battles, inventors sketched models, and entrepreneurs drafted business plans. None relied solely on hope. All depended on structure. The blueprint was the foundation of the building, the strategy was the foundation of the victory, and the plan was the foundation of the success. But planning is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process. A good plan must be flexible, able to adapt when circumstances change. The wise planner measures progress, learns from mistakes, and adjusts the course without abandoning the goal. Rigidity destroys progress, but organized flexibility ensures resilience. This balance of order and adaptability is what allows execution to endure. If you desire to accomplish more than average results, you must rise above average habits. Stop leaving your future to chance. Take your dream, write it down, and begin breaking it into practical steps. Assign deadlines, set priorities, establish systems, Refuse to let the day control you. Instead, let your plan control the day. When you live by design, not by default, execution becomes inevitable. Organized planning is the key to execution because it transforms chaos into clarity, intention into action, and dreams into achievements. Without a plan, even the greatest ambition is powerless. But with a plan, even the smallest step is significant because every step is part of a greater design. Build your plan, work your plan, refine your plan, and your plan will work for you. You do not decide your future in a single moment. You decide it through the habits you choose to repeat each day. Controlled habits are the silent architects of destiny. They shape thought, direct action, and eventually carve the path of your entire life. What you consistently do, whether in discipline or in neglect, determines the results you will harvest. To control your habits is to seize command of your destiny. To leave them uncontrolled is to surrender your future to chance. Great achievements are not built by occasional effort, but by repeated action. A single act of courage may inspire, but daily courage becomes character. One day of focused work may bring progress, but years of disciplined focus bring mastery. Controlled habits are the engine that keeps the dream alive long after initial excitement fades. They create momentum that carries you forward when emotion weakens and challenges arise. The danger of uncontrolled habits is subtle. No one ruins their life in an instant. It is the small, repeated choices that lead to decay. The habit of procrastination steals time one moment at a time until entire opportunities are lost. The habit of distraction drains focus little by little until ambition dies. The habit of negativity poisons thought gradually until confidence vanishes. What seems small today becomes monumental tomorrow. Uncontrolled habits may appear harmless, but they silently write the script of failure. On the other hand, controlled habits are the seeds of greatness. The habit of rising early grants time for reflection and preparation. The habit of focused work compounds into extraordinary results. The habit of study enriches the mind with ideas and strategies that multiply opportunities. The habit of persistence teaches the spirit to withstand hardship until victory arrives. Controlled habits are like soldiers disciplined under command. They follow the orders of your definite purpose and fight for your success. To forge destiny, you must take authority over your daily patterns. Begin by observing them with honesty. What do you do when you wake? How do you respond to difficulty? Where do you invest your hours? The answers reveal the true direction of your life. If your habits do not align with your purpose, they must be reshaped. Change does not come from vague desire. It comes from daily discipline. Every new habit begins as a choice, becomes easier through repetition, and eventually solidifies into identity. Controlled habits also bring freedom. Many believe discipline is restriction, but in truth, it is liberation. When you master your habits, you are no longer enslaved by impulse or circumstance. You do not depend on feelings to act. You act because your system of habits compels you. This is why the most successful men and women are not simply talented, but disciplined. Talent without discipline fades, but controlled habits preserve and multiply talent. Your destiny is not shaped by a single event, but by countless repetitions of who you choose to be. Every choice is a brick, every habit is a wall, and every wall builds the house you will one day live in. If you desire greatness, build habits that sustain greatness. If you desire power, build habits that cultivate strength. If you desire peace, build habits that guard your spirit. The future does not arrive by chance. It arrives by the patterns you prepare today. Controlled habits forge destiny because they make greatness predictable. You do not have to wonder whether success will come if your habits demand success. As surely as a farmer who sows seeds reaps a harvest, the person who builds disciplined habits will reap achievement. Take control of your habits, and you take control of your life. Forge them wisely, and they will forge a destiny beyond your imagination. No one is born persistent. Persistence is forged in the fires of struggle, discipline, and repeated determination. It is not a gift handed out at birth, but a quality built day by day through conscious choice. Those who seem unstoppable were not born with some rare advantage. They trained themselves to keep moving when others stopped. to rise when others stayed down, and to press forward when everything in them wanted to quit. Persistence begins with desire, but it is sustained by discipline. Many people want success, but when the path becomes difficult, their will collapses. The persistent person does not escape hardship, they learn to endure it. Every setback becomes a lesson, every delay a test, and every failure a stepping stone. Persistence is not the absence of obstacles, it is the refusal to be defeated by them. You build it not by wishing for easier circumstances, but by training yourself to stand strong in difficult ones. The difference between the dreamer and the achiever is persistence. A dreamer starts with excitement but fades when results are delayed. The achiever continues despite disappointment because persistence is not dependent on feelings. It is built into the character like steel, shaped by repeated choices to keep going when others stop. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, persistence grows through trials. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without difficulty, persistence cannot be developed. Great victories in history were not won by those who succeeded immediately, but by those who endured countless defeats without surrender. The inventor who failed hundreds of times before creating a breakthrough, the leader who was rejected repeatedly before gaining influence, the entrepreneur who faced bankruptcy before achieving wealth, all shared the same secret. They built persistence. Every time they refused to quit, they reinforced within themselves the strength to continue. That strength multiplied until it became unshakable. To build persistence, you must establish systems that carry you forward even when emotions betray you. Relying on willpower alone is dangerous because feelings rise and fall like waves. But when you create habits, plans, and accountability, you lock yourself into forward motion. On the days when you are weary, your system keeps you moving. On the days when doubt whispers, your discipline silences it. Persistence becomes less about momentary inspiration and more about sustained commitment. It is also vital to remember that persistence is not blind stubbornness. It does not mean repeating the same failed approach endlessly. True persistence is intelligent. It learns from mistakes, adapts strategies, and refines methods. The one who persists with wisdom eventually finds the key that unlocks the door. The one who refuses to adjust remains stuck outside. Persistence is both endurance and adaptability, both strength and flexibility. Every person has within them the ability to build persistence. You do not need to be born extraordinary. You only need to decide that quitting is not an option. Each time you press forward when discouraged, you strengthen the foundation of persistence. Each time you complete a task when you feel like stopping, you add another layer of power to your character. Over time, these small decisions accumulate into a force that cannot be broken. Persistence is built, not born. It is forged in the daily battle against doubt, fear, and fatigue. It is strengthened through discipline, sharpened by failure, and rewarded with achievement. The path to your destiny will not be straight or easy, but if you build persistence, no obstacle can deny you. Others may quit, but you will endure. Others may stop, but you will advance, and in the end, persistence will crown your efforts with the success that only belongs to those who never give up. No one rises to greatness alone. Every destiny is shaped by the environment that surrounds it. Your thoughts, your habits, and your results are influenced, often more than you realize, by the people, the places, and the conditions you allow into your life. To achieve lasting success, you must mastermind your environment, deliberately choosing what and who you let influence your mind. If you fail to master your surroundings will master you. Your environment is the soil in which your dreams grow. Fertile soil produces a healthy harvest, while barren soil starves the seed no matter how much potential it contains. In the same way, your potential will wither if you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and mediocrity. But when you cultivate an environment of encouragement, ambition, and accountability, you give your vision the nutrients it needs to flourish. The greatest oak tree begins as an acorn, but it needs rich ground to reach its full stature. The power of association cannot be underestimated. Spend your time with those who complain, and you will adopt their language of defeat. Walk with those who dream small, and your vision will shrink to match theirs. But when you connect with men and women who believe in growth, who push boundaries, who see possibility instead of limitation, their energy ignites your own. The minds you associate with either lift you up or drag you down. To mastermind your environment is to carefully select allies who align with your purpose. This principle extends beyond people. The books you read, the conversations you entertain, the tools you use, and even the atmosphere where you work all shape your results. A cluttered environment produces a cluttered mind, but a disciplined environment strengthens focus. A steady stream of negativity from media can weaken your faith, while a steady intake of wisdom can sharpen your vision. Everything that enters your mind becomes material for thought, and thought becomes action. Guard your inputs, and you guard your future. Masterminding your environment also means building structures that reinforce discipline. If you want to eat healthy, stock your kitchen with nourishing food. If you want to build wealth, design a system that automatically invests your income. If you want to grow spiritually or mentally, create spaces that encourage reflection and learning. Willpower is limited, but environment is constant. Shape your surroundings to support your goals, and you will find persistence easier and achievement more natural. The greatest achievers in history surrounded themselves with minds greater than their own. They understood that no single individual possesses all the knowledge, wisdom, or perspective required to reach extraordinary heights. By connecting with others, sharing ideas, and drawing on collective strength, they multiplied their abilities. This is the true mastermind principle. When two or more aligned minds come together, they form a power greater than the sum of their parts. You cannot always control every circumstance, but you can control your choices. You can choose who has access to your time, which thoughts you allow to dominate your mind, and what habits you cultivate through your surroundings. You can refuse to remain in environments that poison your spirit and instead seek those that empower it. The decision to mastermind your environment is the decision to take responsibility for your growth. Your future will not be built in isolation. It will be built through the influence of the people you walk with, the voices you listen to, and the atmosphere you create around yourself. Mastermind your environment with intention, and you will find yourself lifted to heights you could not reach alone. Success is not only the result of personal effort, it is the product of collective energy wisely chosen and deliberately cultivated. Build your environment carefully, and your environment will build you. Progress is never an accident. It is the result of deliberate measurement, honest adjustment, and relentless advancement. You cannot improve what you refuse to measure. You cannot correct what you refuse to confront. And you cannot advance if you refuse to act. The formula for growth is simple but powerful. Measure your steps, adjust your course, and advance with renewed strength. The first discipline is measurement. Many people drift through life without ever examining where they are or how far they have come. They hope, they dream, but they never pause to calculate the truth of their progress. Measurement is reality. It strips away illusion and reveals facts. If you seek financial growth, you must track every dollar. If you seek physical health, you must monitor your habits and results. If you seek personal mastery, you must evaluate your time, your thoughts, and your actions. Measurement shines a light on where you truly stand, and only then can you determine the distance to where you want to go. Yet measurement alone is not enough. Numbers, facts, and feedback only serve you if you are willing to adjust. The proud mind resists correction, but the wise mind welcomes it. Adjustment requires humility, the humility to admit that something is not working, that a strategy has failed, or that a habit must change. But this humility is strength, not weakness. Adjustment is not quitting, it is refining. It is the act of sharpening your sword so you may cut deeper, straighter, and faster. Without adjustment, you repeat the same mistakes. With adjustment, every mistake becomes a teacher, and every failure becomes a stepping stone. Advancement is the final step. For knowledge without action is powerless. After you measure and adjust, you must move forward. Too many remain trapped in analysis, endlessly calculating, endlessly refining, but never advancing. Progress comes only through motion. Even imperfect action brings growth when it is followed by reflection and refinement. Advancement is proof of courage, the courage to take the next step even when the path ahead is not fully clear. Each step reveals more of the road, and each movement builds momentum. This cycle, measure, adjust, advance, creates compounding progress. Every time you measure, you gain clarity. Every time you adjust, you gain precision. Every time you advance, you gain momentum. Over days, months, and years, this cycle builds extraordinary achievement. It ensures that even small beginnings can lead to great destinies. What matters is not where you start, but how faithfully you repeat this process. Consider the craftsman who measures his work, makes corrections, and continues building. Over time, his hands create masterpieces. Consider the athlete who studies performance, refines technique, and pushes forward. Eventually, greatness becomes inevitable. Consider the leader who examines results, adjusts strategies, and advances with conviction. Such a leader builds legacies that endure. The difference between mediocrity and excellence is not talent alone, but the discipline to measure, adjust, and advance relentlessly. You must also guard against the temptation of perfection. Do not wait for flawless conditions before advancing. Perfection is a myth that paralyzes action. The real secret is progress, not perfection. Progress comes through cycles of trial, feedback, correction, and renewed effort. Those who understand this principle advance steadily while others remain trapped in hesitation. Your destiny will not unfold by luck or chance. It will be forged by your willingness to face reality, to change when change is needed, and to press forward without fear. Measure your progress with honesty. Adjust your course with wisdom. Advance with courage. Repeat this cycle without end, and no obstacle can keep you from the life you are meant to live.